Hello and welcome back to another video or audio if you're listening in an audio format. My name is Justyna. Welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. Welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week starting on the 15th of September until the 21st. So this week, generally, the energies will be really intense because this is a build up towards the South Node solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. I released a video about this eclipse, so you can watch it if you haven't yet to gain more insights, more understanding in terms of what kind of energy we will be dealing with. Now, this week, in this video, I'll cover more energies happening prior to this eclipse. Right, so here, as always, you can find the timestamps in the comment section. There are also chapters below this video, so you can click straight onto your sign. This horoscope is most accurate for your ascendant sign, your rising sign, and I follow Western astrology, tropical zodiac. So thank you very much, and let's begin. Hello, Aries, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. So, here we start this brand new week with a mix of different energies. So, here around 15th, 16th, we've got Venus connecting with both Mars and Chiron harmoniously, but we also have your chart ruler opposing Chiron. So on the one hand, these energies can bring a lot of spark into your romantic relationship. It can bring a lot of inspiration, motivation into any projects you are engaged in. But at the same time, here with Chiron being activated, especially by an opposition, which often is connected to other people, external influences, this means that while good things may open up here in the initial days of the week, you might also notice perhaps some feelings, energies, unhealed emotions from past relationships, or perhaps some disappointments coming up to the surface. So, generally, the message here is not to let these unhealed emotions or these old wounds pull you back into the same patterns. Instead, try to focus on what feels real for you at this point in your life, what feels meaningful. This will most certainly help you to move forward. So, here, follow your heart. It's all about being real to yourself, being also authentic. Especially when it comes to your emotions and feelings as well. Now, as we move forward, on September the 17th, Mercury, the planet of communication, mindset, rational thinking, forms an opposition to Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is retrograde as well. So what this generally indicates here, yet again, oppositions, as I mentioned earlier, are often connected to other people's involvement and external influences. So this could be related to some conversations or perhaps plans that perhaps might be taking longer and than perhaps expected. Perhaps they might feel heavy, they might be delayed. This could also indicate that perhaps there could be some misunderstandings that may arise at your work or perhaps with others. So here, patience, determination is very much required, because you will get solutions finally and understanding eventually, but it might take some time. So generally there could be delays and there could be some setbacks here taking place. Now on the September the 18th, on the other hand, Mercury moves into Libra. So this also here, Libra is the sign of connect as a cardinal sign, first of all, action oriented, but also Libra is connected to harmony, balance, relationships, connections. So this energy also softens the tone of our communication style overall, and this can really help you create more a balanced collaborations, perhaps conversations, and exchanges overall. But here, Mercury, as soon as it enters Libra, it will form an opposition to Neptune in Aries. So that same day, on September the 18th, not everything will be clear. So here, be mindful of generally of overcommitting, or perhaps be mindful also of mixed signals or confusion on this day. Now, generally, the energy begins to lighten around September 19th, because this is when Mercury makes a supportive connection with Uranus in Gemini, but also with Pluto in Aquarius. So this can generally here bring some opportunities, realizations, more clarity, some new insights, and deeper understanding of perhaps what seemed unclear mid-week. Now, at the same time, Venus also enters Virgo, and this generally shifts the focus to the more practical side of relationships and your work. So that's your sixth house. But here, Venus, as soon as Venus enters Virgo, of course, it will also form a square, tense energy, perhaps some heavy, a little bit of maybe an obstacle. Very often we call it a square. We associate squares often with obstacles, perhaps having to kind of stretch yourself a little bit. So that's also here on September the 20th. As soon as Venus enters Virgo, it will form this tense opposition with Uranus, which could also indicate some surprises, things kind of taking a slightly different turn, sudden changes, maybe changes to your schedule. For example, Uranus likes to shake things up. Perhaps your plans might shift, and here flexibility is definitely required. And on the 21st, we've got the South Node solar eclipse, which I explained, discussed more in depth in my previous video. But here, this shines its light on your daily routines, on your lifestyle, on your health habits, on your work life as well. So this isn't just about one event, but about generally the week as a whole, because here, the initial days of this week are generally a build up towards this South Node eclipse. Of course, South Node eclipse could also indicate that something will be eclipsed out of your life, metaphorically speaking, as this eclipse occurs. So you might find yourself having this strong need to implement some lifestyle changes, move away from habits, routines that no longer serve you. This is also about becoming more organized, for simplifying your workflow, maybe getting a VA or a PA, or generally an assistant who could help you, or perhaps some kind of AI implementation into your work, or perhaps this could be about getting a housekeeper, a babysitter. So generally here, this is about simplifying your daily life for becoming more efficient, productive with your time management as well. And this could also see you changing your dietary habits. But here, that's what I've got for you today. Thank you very much, Aries. And let's have a look at Taurus now. Taurus, welcome. Welcome to this brand new week, brand new energies. And of course, it's a very important week because this week we've got a so-called a build up towards the South Node solar eclipse, which will generally conclude this week. All right, so generally this week begins with actually your chart ruler Venus being very active this week. It forms a lovely connection with Mars and Chiron. And this brings generally a lot of inspiration, joy as well into your life. It's a great time for engaging in some new projects, ideas, for example. And generally, there is a lot of romantic energy in the air, and inspirational as well. And at the same time, with Venus and Chiron connection, also a harmonious one. This also indicates that generally these new projects or business goals that you engage in during this time might feel very, very healing, might feel very therapeutic as well. Now, on the negative note, on the same day also here, I would say Monday, Tuesday energies, Mars clashes with Chiron by an opposition. So this could potentially stir up some insecurities, especially or perhaps some kind of negative. Watch out for any negative thoughts around love, around your inner confidence, inner light. And this is generally an opportunity for you to also notice any negative patterns that may come up, because these could also make you realize where you've been holding yourself back, where you've been stopping yourself, especially notice any negative thoughts that come up, because they are generally kind of making you stuck in their reality. So by facing these fears, by having these strong realizations, this is the very first step that can help you to move away from them, that can help you to heal. Now, these insecurities could also perhaps be as a result of someone else's comment, conversation you may have with another person, because oppositions are often connected to other people's involvement in our lives. Now, on the 17th, on the other hand, Mercury opposes Saturn. So Mercury is almost on its way out from Virgo, but before it leaves Virgo, it will form an opposition to Saturn. So this energy could bring a certain degree of pressure and kind of a now or never feeling, feeling of urgency, especially in the area of communication, in the area of work. Perhaps you might be dealing with some important deadlines during this time. And generally, this could also be a time when you might feel like there are lots of responsibilities, duties you need to deal with. There's a little bit of that heavy energy in the air. So this is a good time for prioritizing, because if you feel like you have taken on too much, you're dealing with too much at the same time. Maybe it's time to prioritize. Maybe it's time to also seek help if needed. If you feel like you need it, if you feel like you could do with some help. Now, on September the 18th, Mercury moves into Libra, and this also creates a different flow in your daily conversations and in how you communicate. And Libra is a sign of balance, harmony, relationship. So you might actually have this greater need for reconnecting with people who are close to your heart, for having these meaningful conversations. But as soon as this transit begins, Mercury will form an opposition with Neptune in Aries. So this can also bring some mixed signals, or perhaps a little bit of kind of lack of clarity or some unclear information. So generally, don't rush with any decisions, and watch out for any impulsivity. Be patient before making any big decisions during this time. Now, clarity returns, at least to a certain degree, on September the 19th, when Mercury forms a harmonious trine with both Uranus and Pluto. So this energy could open up new perspectives, especially in the area of work, in the area of any projects you're dealing with, finances as well. And at the same time, on the same day, Venus changes signs, it enters a Virgo. So this also here with Venus in Virgo, and also Venus is your chart ruler. This here turns your attention to anything to do with pleasure and fun, and anything to do with any hobbies, love as well, your children. But here with Virgo present in this area of your chart, the energy is more practical and more realistic, even, I would say. But here, as soon as Venus enters Virgo, on the 20th, we will have a very tense square with Uranus. So this could indicate some shifts in your area of relationships and in your area of finances. Maybe some surprises that you didn't expect. and maybe some sudden shifts that will require flexibility, that will require some adaptability. Maybe your partner might surprise you with some news on their end that perhaps will you might not fully agree with, and it will require some flexibility from you, for example, and some understanding, for instance. So whatever the scenario here, this is a day to just go with the flow, especially here with Uranus being activated by a square. Something or someone might take you by surprise. Now, by September the 21st, we've got a South Node solar eclipse in a Virgo, and this is happening in your fifth house. Yet again, the area of joy, happiness, romance is activated. And generally this month, you might also crave more fun. You might crave more kind of energies, projects that will keep your mind busy. So this is definitely a great eclipse for starting brand new hobbies, brand new projects, something that feels authentic, something that feels aligned, not something that feels forced. So perhaps something in your creative or romantic life may now shift. Perhaps one chapter is coming to an end while another is opening. All right, so I'll actually made a separate video about this eclipse, so I will link it in the description box down below this video. So thank you very much, Taurus. And now let's have a look at Geminis. Geminis, welcome. I'm just checking if my microphone, if the green light is on. Welcome to your horoscope, weekly horoscope. So we've got an interesting week, a build up towards South Node solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. All right, so these eclipses on Pisces and Virgo are really, really important because, as I mentioned in the previous video, they activate the angular houses in your birth chart, and these are usually very important life events. So we start this week with Venus forming a harmonious connection with both Mars and Chiron, but we also have an opposition between Mars and Chiron. So a mix of energies here, and here this energy generally brings a little bit of spark into your social life, into your romantic life as well. But overall, here we've got first of all with Venus connecting with Chiron harmoniously. This offers a lot of healing energy in your friendships, perhaps in some connections within your community. So it's a good time for having these important conversations, for resolving any conflicts, for forgiving, especially when it comes to any connections you truly care about. Yet with Mars and Chiron opposition also on the same day, this can bring some tension or perhaps some old wounds, especially unhealed wounds within any groups. Social dynamics might resurface. Oppositions are often connected to other people, so perhaps these wounds, unhealed memories, energies might just show up in your mind. It doesn't have to happen it doesn't have to happen in a physical form, but it might just come through your thoughts, through your thoughts basically. But generally here, what you might realize during this time is that not all connections, not all friendships, not all associations are meant to continue in the old form. Perhaps some of your connections are evolving, shifting, and perhaps you need to accept it. And so it's a day of some interesting realizations you might have in connection to other people, in connection to any friendships, associations in your life. Now, on September the 17th, Mercury, your chart ruler, opposes Saturn. So the energies will be heavy, most likely, because your chart ruler is activated. And this is when conversations might feel heavy, especially connected to your work, to any family responsibilities. This could be also a day when you might be juggling with lots of different things, and perhaps this is generally a day um, to be patient, to generally not to ask too much of yourself, but at the same time to be generally realistic with what is achievable, what is possible, and what perhaps needs to be slightly delayed. Now, on September the 18th, Mercury, sorry, your ruler Mercury enters Libra, so we've got this major shift happening. Of course, Mercury changes signs very frequently, and this also kind of connects to the versatility attached to Gemini's, or wherever Gemini is placed in your chart. For example, if you're watching it for your sun, this horoscope for your sun sign. But generally, with Mercury entering Libra, this will soften your communication style without a doubt. But generally, watch out, because on the 18th, as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it will oppose Neptune in Aries. So on the 18th, generally, listen carefully before acting, because Neptune brings confusion. If something isn't clear, double check, and don't rush with any decisions. Don't rush with any answers. If something isn't clear, double check, clarify. Now, on September the 19th, we've got a shift of energies, especially since your chart ruler Mercury connects with Uranus and with Pluto by a trine. So harmonious energy, which offers genuinely fresh breath of energy, first of all, but also more clarity, especially since the 17th, 18th brought a little bit of heaviness, possible confusion here. The 19th offers more clarity, fresh perspectives, and strong realizations, even for some. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo, and here this is your fourth house. So here with Venus in Virgo, this shifts your attention to your home and family life. Venus generally here wants generally you might want to implement more balance, more harmony into your home. This could be about beautifying your home environment, perhaps hosting a social gathering or a dinner party. And at the same time, since generally you've got Virgo energy here present, this could be also about simplifying your routine. Perhaps any changes that you implement, they are here to generally free up space for something more aligned in your life. So whether you're decluttering, whether you are implementing some shifts, changes into your home routine, or perhaps when you're planning some renovations, this is generally here. This energy is helping you to bring more balance and generally more comfort into this area of your chart, of your life. And by September the 21st, we've got, of course, the South Node eclipse taking place here. So new beginnings in this area of your chart. Generally some new beginnings in the area of home. And whether you are moving, whether you are buying, selling, whether perhaps your family, external family is moving close to you, this will highly depend on your circumstances. But generally, this lunation helps you generally realize what needs to change in your private life so that you can perhaps ground yourself, ground your energy more strongly, in a more strongly, I think. Yeah, so it's about rooting yourself in a way. Right, so thank you very much, Geminis. And now let's have a look at Cancers. Cancers, welcome. And let me have a little sip of this tea. It's cold now, actually, but it's good to um, hydrate here myself a little bit. All right, so we've got a brand new week, Cancer. So generally this week is centered around anything to do with making some possibly important decisions. Communication is important this week, and communication in all sort of forms, not just in a verbal way, but also in a written emails, messages, but also anything to do with your connections in your life. And we start the week here on the 15th, 16th. Venus forms a supportive connection with Mars and Chiron. So here it's a good day for having meaningful conversations, for resolving any issues, conflicts. For generally, this energy brings healing. It brings understanding as well. Helps you see things from a different light, different perspective. So you might be also drawn to perhaps to connect with people who uplift you, who generally rise your energies in some significant way. But at the same time, we also have Mars and Chiron opposition later that same day. So generally, I don't know, try to stay away from negative energies, negative people if you can, because oppositions are often connected to external influences to other people. This could indicate that for some, you might perhaps someone or someone generally could sting you with what they say, with their words, maybe even unintentionally, and or maybe you might hear something on during listening to a podcast, watching a movie, for example. So generally, some words, some messages could generally bring some old wounds. Back to the surface, those unhealed energies, unhealed memories around perhaps being undervalued or feeling undervalued, or perhaps when you felt like you were not heard. So generally, pay attention to where this sort of energies show up, where defensiveness show up, because that's very Cancerian as well, and because this can generally help you to understand where these negative patterns are coming from, and perhaps you might also realize that some of these unhealed wounds are holding you back from moving forward with specific goals, ideas. So this is also an opportunity for healing. Now, on September the 17th, Mercury opposes Saturn, so a bit of heaviness in the air, and this energy overall will impact us collectively, and it could bring some heaviness, some tension around communication. It could bring some delays as well when it comes to travel. So make sure you leave early for any appointments, important appointments, interviews, meetings. And it could also indicate that perhaps you might be juggling with different kind of responsibilities, and generally here this is about being patient, about being realistic, organized as well. Don't give up if things are not working your way. Now on September the 18th, Mercury changes signs, it shifts into Libra. And this brings very different energy to the area of conversations, communication, or mindset. So generally that opposition with Saturn is a short-lasting influence. Don't let it kind of upset you. Because on the 17th, on the 18th, when Mercury moves into Libra, this energy generally emphasizes more balanced, more harmonious energy flow, especially here when it comes to communication, conversations in relationships, partnerships, for example. But at the same time, also on the 18th, we've got an opposition coming from Mercury to Neptune, because of course Neptune is in Aries. It was really early degrees of Aries. So we've got a Mercury and Neptune opposition, and this could blur perhaps some energies. It could bring confusion, it could bring uncertainty. So not everything might be clear around this time. So give yourself some time before drawing any conclusions. Don't jump too quickly into any conclusions around this time. If something isn't clear, clarify it. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And on the 19th, we've got very different energies, a shift of energy even, because this is when clarity returns. Mercury forms a harmonious trine with both Uranus and with Pluto. So this is a great time for it's like a forward momentum in a way, because this is when we might finally find solution to something that perhaps felt unclear midweek, and some things might become just obvious, and this also it's a good day for brainstorming, for having interviews, meetings, because these energies bring a transformation, breakthroughs, and it's a really interesting energy, especially when it comes to any intellectually stimulating projects, activities. For example, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo, and this generally will draw your attention to anything to do with your immediate environment. Perhaps this could be connected to a travel, an upcoming travel, short distance travel that could be very beneficial for you, very fulfilling. Or perhaps it could be also about some kind of work that you'll be doing with your neighbors, with your siblings, for example. It's a good day for also good time, good phase, good period here from the 19th at least until the end of the month, for writing, for blogging, for podcasting. Whenever Venus is in the third house, it positively influences our communication style as well. And on the 20th, Venus, just watch out for the 20th, because on the 20th, Venus forms a square with Uranus. And this could create some unexpected, sudden, unforeseen developments. And this is happening in your third house, of course. It activates your third house, and coming from the 12th. So perhaps this could be about some unexpected news, or perhaps some changes to your plan, or some kind of someone, perhaps some unexpected meeting with someone that you didn't expect, and some surprises overall. So flexibility, adaptability is definitely key during this time. And we end the week with the South Node solar eclipse happening in the sign of Virgo on September the 21st. And this is happening in your third house. So here, the third house has been really, really, really significant this year. And I've seen in a few Cancer rising individuals that the few that are in my life, and that they've gone through this massive, massive mindset shift that also made them completely transform their lifestyle. So here with this eclipse, what this could indicate, of course, this could be connected to a new job, new career, new contracts, and perhaps, as I said, some lifestyle changes, and the way you speak, your communication style could shift as well. So generally, if you've been holding yourself back from being yourself, from engaging in some interesting projects, ideas, from expressing yourself fully, then this solar eclipse, it's a south node eclipse as well. So there's a lot of karmic energy. It's a point or a time of when you'll be releasing, letting go of any fears, limiting energies, thoughts, beliefs. This is about stepping into a much clearer and much more grounded reality, future, if you will. So thank you very much, Cancers. And now let's have a look at Leos. Leos, welcome. Welcome to your weekly horoscope. So here We start the week with a few interesting energies. Venus connects beautifully with Mars and Chiron, and we also have Mars and Chiron opposition. So this is all happening on the 16th. You will likely start to feel it also on the 15th. So first of all, here this is happening here. Venus is still in Leo in your sign. So it can feel very personal, whatever is happening here during this time, because it's of course activating your area of the self. So generally Venus and Mars combination can give you a sense of flow, a sense of confidence, especially in your interactions with others. At the same time, Venus will also connect harmoniously with Chiron. So this also brings a potential for resolving any issues, conflicts in your area of relationships, maybe even with your children, for example. And at the same time, this is also a good time for engaging in some new projects. And in new hobbies, for example, maybe this could be about a new work contract opportunity even. And you have also a chance to heal any wounds that block your ability to be yourself, to be more transparent, to be more authentic. Mars opposes Chiron also later that day. So this is the only negative aspect of the day, because this is generally oppositions are connected to other people, external influences. So perhaps some old unhealed wounds, insecurities, limiting thoughts, beliefs may stir up around that time, this time as well, especially around your ability to express yourself confidently and freely, authentically. So this is the time also to kind of realize, what's coming up, what's showing up, what's triggering these feelings, these emotions. And this is an opportunity for healing as well. Now, so we might also benefit from writing these things down, especially if you feel like, they come up and they're blocking you from feeling free, from feeling more confident in your self-expression. On the 17th, we've got slightly more heavy energies, 17th, 18th, because this is when Mercury opposes Saturn. And Mercury is on its way out from Virgo, but before it leaves Virgo, it will oppose Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So with oppositions, as I mentioned earlier, this is very much connected, very often connected to other people, external influences, but it doesn't have to manifest in a physical form. It could also come in your, on the inside, in your mind, in your mindset. So here, Mercury and Saturn opposition, this is connected to your money, your self-worth. So perhaps you might be thinking a lot about any financial obligations, responsibilities related to money, for example. You might, for some, this could manifest as feeling even restricted or as progress is slower, as you're not seeing desired outcomes, results of your hard efforts, for example. So here, generally, whenever these sort of setbacks occur, this is a chance for reviewing our actions and to see what's working and what isn't. Maybe this energy is trying to kind of push you or make you realize whether you are on the right track or whether something needs adjustment. But whatever the scenario here with Saturn being activated by a square or an opposition, this is a time for being patient with oneself and others. Now, on September the 18th, Mercury enters Libra, and this is a shift of energy. So overall, the opposition of Saturn is not going to last long. It will likely kind of begin on the 16th. It will last throughout the 17th. It will move away from on the 18th, because on the 18th, Mercury enters Libra, and this will soften our approach to how we communicate, how we express ourselves generally, or more or less. But here, as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it will oppose Neptune in Aries, because of course Neptune is at a very early degree of Aries. So generally, the Neptune and Mercury opposition can generally can create a certain degree of confusion, especially around finances or any financial agreements, for example. So this is a day overall to avoid making any major financial decisions, some big purchases, especially if you're unsure about this or this idea. Perhaps if you are in two minds, try to delay it at least for a day if you can, because on the 19th, Mercury forms a harmonious trine with both Uranus and Pluto. So this brings much needed clarity, especially after the 17th and the 18th energies, but also some possible news breakthroughs around your career, around your sense of purpose, your direction, the direction that you're heading as well. So here, these energy open new possibilities, new perspectives as well. And they offer an easy flow of energy. Now, also on the 19th, Venus enters Virgo, and here with Venus in Virgo, in your second house of finances, resources, possession. So here, this energy shift your focus upon your income situation, your values, and very often with Venus in here in transiting the second house of our birth chart, we crave generally more objects of value. And this could be also at a time when perhaps you might have a greater need to find more financial security, stability, especially here. Watch out for the 20th, because the day after Venus enters Virgo, it forms a square with Uranus in Gemini. And this could bring some surprising, unexpected developments in the area of finances, income, and perhaps some financial shifts, or perhaps some surprising even expenses, because squares very often indicate some tension. So this could indicate some unexpected expenses, and overall here, flexibility, adaptability is required under the influence of these energies. Go perhaps yeah, I think definitely incorporate a more of a flexible approach to the energies resonating on the day, but also watch out for any impulse spendings as well. All right, so we end the week with the South Node solar eclipse in Virgo. I made a separate video about this eclipse a few days ago. So if you want to watch it, I'll link it in the description box down below this video. But this eclipse, yet again, activates your second house, or your income, financial security, stability, self-worth, self-esteem. These energies, these themes are activated. Now, a south node also indicates that it's a time when you're letting go, releasing any outdated ways of defining your worth. And this could be also about a change of mindset when it comes to your ability to attract wealth, to make money, to generate income. And perhaps this could be also about restructuring this area of your life. Many Leos will be starting a new job, new careers. Perhaps this could be about a side hustle as well, because of course it's a solar eclipse, so it very often indicates some brand new beginnings. But with the south node, something is also shifting away, whether this is a change of mindset, a different way of managing finances overall. So this is about generally being more in alignment with this area of your chart, aligning with what matters most to you. And this could be also about also making a big purchase, a major purchase. Maybe you're buying a car, for example. This is the area of also our resources, our possessions, movable possessions. So a vehicle would be also the second house influence. All right, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you very much. And let's have a look at the Virgos. Virgos, welcome. So here we start this brand new week with Venus connecting harmoniously with both Mars and Chiron. And then later on the 16th, Mars also clashes with Chiron by an opposition. So we're Venus in Leo and with Mars in Libra. So we've got a sextile here and a trine with Chiron. So this generally here, the energies are centered around your relationships, but also there are healing energies as we begin this brand new week. So a good time for resolving any conflict, any issues, for gaining more clarity, understanding within your close relationships. But here, when Mars clashes with Chiron, also on the 16th later in the day, this generally oppositions are often connected to other people, external influences. So perhaps this could be also that generally comes this energy could come through your thoughts. It doesn't have to manifest in a physical form, but this could also generally indicate that perhaps some old unhealed wounds, insecurities, limiting thoughts, especially around partnerships, especially around anything to do with vulnerability, might show up. And this is also a moment, an invitation, if you will, for you to acknowledge, realize what feels tense, tender at this time without letting it define you. This is very, very significant. So pay attention to any thoughts, situations during this time that make you feel more sensitive, vulnerable, that bring back some unhealed emotions. This is a time to let go of these, to face these fears, to face these energies, but also to let go. Don't let them define you, who you are, what you're capable of. Now, on the 17th, Mercury, your ruling planet, forms an opposition to Saturn. So Mercury is in those final degrees of Virgo, about to move into Libra, but before it transitions to Libra, it forms a tense opposition with Saturn. So it may generally it could indicate perhaps some increased responsibilities. It could indicate that there will be a lot on your mind, and perhaps something or someone might be blocking your progress. So this is generally a moment to slow down and to perhaps be more patient with yourself, with others, and generally, this is a moment to also realize that what feels like a delay, it could actually be a time helping you to slow down and to realize whether you are on the right track, whether something needs to change. And perhaps this is also an opportunity, if you will, to also refine, restructure, adjust your path, the direction that you're heading. Now, there's a shift of energy happening on the 18th as Mercury enters Libra, and Mercury in Libra brings very different energy. It softens your communication style. It emphasizes diplomacy, meeting halfway, especially in your interactions with others. Now, as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it will form an opposition with Neptune in Aries. So here, watch out for any confusions, misunderstandings in relationships. Be mindful of any unclear boundaries, of having unrealistic expectations of others, of yourself. If anything feels unclear, confusing, clarify it. Don't let it frustrate you. At the same, don't make any big decisions if you feel like things are not clear. Clarify it, ask questions, don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, on the 19th, Mercury forms a beautiful trine with Pluto and with Uranus, so this also offers more clarity, more understandings, and this is a good time for having any deep conversations, for brainstorming, for also slowing down, journaling, meditating as well, because here these energies can really help you to see things from a different light, different perspective as well. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters your sign, Virgo. So this generally is a really harmonious, beautiful energy, and this energy will want to make you pamper yourself. It's about self-care or a greater need for self-care, self-love. And as soon as Venus enters Virgo, it forms a square with Gemini, Uranus in Gemini. So also on the 20th, 21st, here, this could be also a time when you might receive some unexpected news. There could be some changes that could feel slightly unsettling at first. But generally, this is about freeing yourself, liberating yourself from what no longer aligns, from what no longer fits. So keep this in mind. Flexibility, adaptability is key during this time. And we end the week with a South Node solar eclipse happening in Virgo. So this is happening in your first house at the final degree of Virgo, an anaretic degree, which could make you feel like perhaps it could make you want to take risks. It's like a now or never feeling. So it's an incredibly powerful moment of renewal for you personally on a deeper level. Something about you, about your goals, about your identity, about your physical appearance. It is ready to transform. So you might feel very strong urge to let go of any habits, routines, anything that's no longer in alignment, anything that no longer reflects who you are becoming. So this eclipse marks the start, the beginning of a brand new cycle of alignment. So it's not just about how others see you, it's also about how you see yourself. And this is really, very powerful. So thank you very much, Virgos. And let's have a look at the next sign, and that's Libra. Libras, welcome. Welcome to your weekly horoscope. So we start this brand new week. This brand new week is generally centered around your relationships and around any issues of codependency, could come up as well, could become more visible. Generally, your partnerships come into light as well. So on September, and the reason for that, of course, is because your ruler, Venus, is active, and also Mars, especially here on the 16th. Mars rules your area of relationships. All right, so here with Venus and Mars combination and also Venus and Chiron combination, this energy brings harmony, brings warmth, attraction, opportunities for connection, for reconnection, for finding more harmony, balance, meeting halfway. And there's a lot of healing energy as well, especially in your closest relationships. But here we also have a Mars and Chiron opposition, especially here on the 16th, which could potentially bring some tension. It could bring up to the surface some old wounds, unhealed emotions, energies around your relationships, your partnerships. So this is a time to avoid these emotions. Pay attention to these thoughts, to these energies by facing them, by trying to understanding them. This is how you heal. This is how you releasing them, letting go. So generally growth comes through facing these fears, these unhealed emotions, not by avoiding them. Now on the 17th, Mercury opposes Saturn. And this is when conversations might feel more heavy, more serious as well. And this could also indicate a time when you might feel like you're juggling with too many responsibilities. There could be some setbacks, delays, limitations at your work, or perhaps with family, some family dynamics that may impact your ability also to function more effectively, to connect easily with others. So this is a day to be patient with yourself, with others, and remember that this is not going to last forever. This is especially going to be influenced, active on the 17th, but also these energies are trying to show you what's working, what isn't in your life. All right, so on the 18th, Mercury moves into Libra, into your first house. So this is definitely a time when communication will feel much easier, and you will gain much greater clarity as well. But watch out, because as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune in your area of relationships, connections in your seventh house. So this could generally blur boundaries, especially when it comes to your connections, or generally, yeah, connections, relationships. So pay attention to whether um, there is kind of perhaps you're experiencing any confusion, lack of clarity. Communicate as clearly as you can in order to avoid any misunderstandings, any confusions. And if something isn't clear, then clarify it. Don't delay it, don't avoid it. Now on the 19th, this is when clarity returns, especially after the 17th, 18th, kind of heavy energies. So here on the 19th, Mercury, the planet of communication, rational thinking, our mindset, forms a harmonious connection, a trine with both Uranus and Pluto. So this generally helps you to understand anything that came up this week, especially between the 15th and the 18th, something that perhaps was unclear, something that felt slightly confusing. Here, these energies are helping you to understand those situations from a different light, different perspective. So these are really powerful aspects also that help you to communicate more openly, more confidently as well. You might realize what needs to change in your relationships or perhaps in your career path. And these energies give you the courage to take action. Now, also on the same day, Venus moves into Virgo, into your 12th house. So this generally turns your attention more inward. Venus is your chart ruler. So this is generally a type of energy that might want to retreat, reflect, contemplate, and perhaps take a better care of your energy. So as soon as here Venus enters Virgo, it forms also on the 20th a square with Gemini, Uranus in Gemini. Here with squares often indicate some unexpected news, unexpected situations, and with a square, these might take you by surprise. So generally here, Venus and Uranus square could create some unexpected developments, situations, and this could perhaps indicate that some connections, relationship dynamics could shift suddenly. Perhaps you might receive some surprising news that could make you push you to change your plans, to change your direction, for example. So here, this is a time to be flexible, adaptable, and don't rush with any decisions. Think things through. Now, here we end the week with a South Node solar eclipse happening on the 21st. This is happening in your 12th house of here reflection, contemplation, spirituality. And this eclipse is closing a chapter in your life, in your inner world, but at the same time, it highlights where perhaps you need to let go of, especially of any old patterns, habits connected to self doubt, hidden fears, where you've overextended yourself, for example, where you sacrificed your needs, your desires, for example. So, this eclipse, in a way, reminds you that the deepest work starts within. It doesn't happen externally, it starts within. So this is a time, it's a South Node eclipse, and it's also the 12th house. So there's a lot of karmic energy, which wants you to let go, release what you've been carrying alone. It's about stepping into a cycle of self-acceptance. And this is huge. It will require some deep thinking, some deep reflection, slowing down. Thank you very much, Libras. And now let's have a look at Scorpios. All right, so hello, Scorpios, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. So here, this week focuses on your area of friendships, on your area of connections as well, your long-term goals, your objectives. So we start here with Venus aligning harmoniously with Mars and Chiron, and these influences especially active on the 16th, the 15th, 16th especially. And here it's a really, really positive energy that can open some new opportunities, new doors, through other people, through your connections, through networking efforts. This could also indicate that you'll be making or have an opportunity to make some really meaningful connections around this time as well, depending on your circumstances, of course. And at the same time, this energy also benefits any resolution of any conflicts, negative energies as well. You might also find engaging in creativity, some creative projects, very, very soothing, very, very healing and therapeutic. But also on the same day, towards perhaps the second part of the 16th of September, that's a Tuesday, Mars, your traditional ruler, opposes Chiron, and this indicates potential clash of energies. Oppositions often indicate the involvement of other people, external influences. So here, perhaps through some kind of interactions, or maybe even through watching a movie or listening to a podcast, generally some old insecurities, unhealed emotions, unhealed wounds may resurface. Anything generally connected to your approach to relationships. And overall, here, whenever this sort of energies show up in our lives, this is a chance for us to face them. It's not about avoiding them, it's about facing them and letting go, releasing. This is when growth and healing occurs. Now, on the 17th, on the other hand, Mercury forms a tight opposition to Saturn. Saturn is the lord of karma, the planet connected to structure, discipline, delays. With oppositions, as I mentioned earlier, this often involves others, and this could indicate that perhaps this could conversations might feel heavy around this time. Communication might feel heavy. You might be dealing with some family related matters, and this energy overall prompts you. Because of course Mercury is still in a Virgo in your 11th house, opposing Saturn in your 5th house. So here there's a need for finding a healthy balance. There's a need for slowing down. By slowing down, you allow yourself to see what's working and what isn't. This is about finding a healthy balance between your personal commitments, desires, personal life, and also your external obligations. Be patient because you might experience delays if you're going to an important appointment on this day. Leave early, prepare ahead of time. Now, on September the 18th, Mercury enters Libra, and this this energy, this is your 12th house energies. This draws your energy inward. It's a good time for learning about oneself, for reflection, contemplation, spending time in nature, for meditating, for journaling as well, reading definitely as well. So as soon as generally Mercury, as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it forms an opposition to Neptune in Aries, and this opposition can stir up some confusion, idealization as well, even trust in your intuition. Even though Mercury in the 12th house, this is supposed to be like great intuition, but here Neptune blurs the boundaries, brings confusion, brings lack of clarity. So this is a day overall to kind of wait before you make any big decisions, major decisions, especially if things are not clear. If you feel like you don't have a full understanding of what you're dealing with, ask questions, seek more guidance, and ask for second opinion if needed. Now on September the 19th, we've got, and that's a Friday, Mercury forms a harmonious trine with Uranus and Pluto. And here, Mercury, of course, still in Libra, just starting its journey in your 12th house, and connecting with Pluto in your 4th house, Uranus in Gemini in your 8th house. So this could generally indicate some major breakthroughs, realizations, new ideas, a really great time to connect with those that you trust, and those that you feel that support you in your life, and it's a day when you might feel like you need some support, and or perhaps you might want to talk things through, share your ideas. But here, this is a time to generally reach out to those who you can trust, who understand you, and who know you well. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo. That's your 11th house. So this is actually a positive energy for your social life, for networking, for also having a more positive, but also practical outlook on your goals, on your hopes, on your dreams. But here, as soon as Venus enters Virgo, it will form a square to Uranus in Gemini. Here, squares represent tension, the need to get out of our comfort zone, but also here we've got an element of something taking you by surprise, happening unexpectedly. And this could be about some new people suddenly appearing in your life. This could also be connected to perhaps some connections and with some people who with whom you don't have a good connection, with whom you don't align harmoniously. So at the same time, this is also about the redefinition of your goals, of your hopes, of your dreams. Now, on the 20th, oh yeah, so that's on the 20th. And then on the 21st, we've got a solar eclipse in Virgo, a south node eclipse in your 11th house of community, of your communities, social groups, anything to do with friendships, long-term goals, your future, your vision for the future. So here, this eclipse generally wants you to reconsider your place within your group. Well, any groups you belong to, your social circle, but this is also about taking a closer look at your future goals, future objectives. And this is also when some Scorpio rising individuals may experience some kind of transformation in your social circle. And this could be perhaps about a brand new group, well, joining a group that really aligns with you, or having this strong need to find one. And at the same time, this is a really powerful karmic time as well, when you will be letting go, releasing any outdated dreams, and generally things that no longer align with your inner self. And this is about aligning with goals, with objectives that truly reflect your sense of identity, the direction that you're heading as well. So thank you very much, Scorpios. And now we'll look at Sagittarius. Sagittarius, welcome. We've got this brand new week, brand new energies. So we start with Venus forming a harmonious connection with both Mars and Chiron, and that's on the 15th, 16th. So this is happening in your area of your life direction, career growth and development, your professional path, generally your sense of direction overall. So we've got some really supportive energy. Perhaps you'll be forming some new connections at your work, or perhaps it might be that some friends could be very supportive at this time, and help you on your career path, generally in the direction that you're heading. This energy also can give you this really big push to perhaps show up more confidently as well. But at the same time, we also have Mars and Chiron opposition, clashing with these energies. And here, Mars in Libra, here in your 11th house, connecting with Chiron in Aries, excuse me, in your 5th house. So this, as you as you have this need to kind of move forward with your career goals, and things will be happening overall for you. Um, for some, it could manifest as potential some unhealed wounds, unhealed memories from the past, connected to visibility, recognition, and whether you're good enough. So generally here, this is the time to face these insecurities, to face these limiting thoughts, and move forward regardless of what shows up in your mind. So this is about overcoming these limitations. It's about overcoming these internal fears, because this is when growth occurs. Now, as we move forward on September the 17th, and this is already a Wednesday, Mercury opposes Saturn. So here, Mercury, the planet of communication, mindset, rational thinking, forms a tight opposition with Saturn. Oppositions are often connected to other people, external influences, but here with also Saturn, could be connected to some increased responsibilities that you might be dealing with in your professional life, in your outside world, or perhaps in your family life at your home. Now, this is also a time when it might be more difficult to kind of talk about things that frustrate you, or perhaps you might feel like you don't have enough support, and or external support isn't always at hand. So overall here, with these energies, it's about patience. Patience is definitely here key with yourself, with others, but at the same time, it's a time to slow down, especially if you feel like frustration is taking over. This is a chance, because to slow down, yes, but at the same time, during these moments, you can realize what's working, what's not working, and what needs to be adjusted. Now, on September the 18th, Mercury enters Libra, so that's your 11th house. And this generally, it's a great transit for networking, for social gatherings as well, for collaborations. However, watch out, because as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it will have to go through a tense energetical alignment with Neptune in opposition. So here, this energy could lead to some potential misunderstandings, miscommunications, and communicate as clearly as you can, so that you can avoid possible misunderstandings, especially impacting here. This could be impact your some kind of teamwork, or perhaps this could also impact your parenting area of your chart, the romantic area of your chart, or anything to do with working with clients or on a project. So here, this is a day when you need to be very, very clear. And if something isn't clear, then ask questions, clarify that. Then on September the 19th, which is a Friday, Mercury forms a trine with Uranus and with Pluto. So we're shifting away from Saturn and Neptune, and here Mercury forms a beautiful connection with Uranus and Pluto. So this could indicate some sudden realizations, some breakthroughs even. And this could also indicate that you might have some interesting, transformative, inspiring conversation with someone who could really, really motivate you to move forward with a specific goal idea. This is also a good time for networking, for brainstorming as well, because during these kind of meetups, and when you blend energies with others, you might have some really strong realizations, new ideas regarding your sense of direction, your career path. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo, and here this is your area of career. So as you can see, the career sphere, the life direction, public life is very much highlighted here. And Venus here positively impacts your your this area of your chart. This could also for some indicate an increased influence of some feminine energy, and perhaps some positive feedback, a time of recognition as well. As long as you're grounded in the reality and practical here, Virgo energies are about being practical, efficient, and organized. Now, here we've got a similar situation to Mercury earlier, because as soon as a Virgo enters, Venus enters Virgo, it clashes with Uranus by a square. So this could indicate some sudden shift, change of plans at your work, for example, some kind of shift happening maybe to your schedule. Maybe your client will cancel, maybe someone won't show up on the day. So generally shifts, changes, news that will require flexibility, quick thinking, quick decision making. And while they can be disruptive, they could lead to something new, and perhaps some new realizations even, or opportunities. Now on the 21st, we've got a solar eclipse happening in Virgo in your 10th house, your career, life direction, public life, public image. So with the south node eclipse, you are closing one chapter in your career and you're beginning a brand new. So you might feel this inner voice telling you that it's time to let go of the old roles. It's time to redefine your goals. It's time to redefine what success actually means to you. And at the same time, you might find yourself taking on new responsibilities, those especially that better reflect the direction that you're heading, that better reflect your purpose. So overall, this eclipse is not just about your career here. This is your life direction as well. And for many, this could feel like you're stepping into something meaningful, and hopefully more sustainable. So thank you very much, Sagittarius. Now let's have a look at Capricorns. All right, so Capricorns, welcome to your weekly horoscope. We start with a pretty pleasant energy as Venus and Mars connect by a sextile. We also have Venus and Chiron connection, and that's the Monday and Tuesday influence. So this generally turns your attention towards anything to do with matters connected to investments, shared and joint resources, money that comes from different sources than your regular income. And overall, this is also a moment or a sense of transformation that you might experience as well. Perhaps there's a need here often with under the influence of these energies to find more spark in the area of life that lost its spark and purpose. Now, Venus and Mars also give you this boost of confidence. And with Venus and Chiron connection, this is a great time for healing any past wounds connected to vulnerability, power struggles, jealousy, behavioral patterns, for example, as well. Now, Venus here also could bring some financial gains, financial returns, for instance, as well. And at the same time, also on the 16th, we've got Mars opposing Chiron. So this energy could bring a certain degree of tension, as Mercury is the planet of communication, rational thinking, our mindset. Saturn can bring delays, limitations, negative self-talk even, especially when it opposes or squares Mercury. Oppositions are often related to other people's influence, external influences. So generally here, this could be a time when you might be dealing with lots of different duties, responsibilities, but at the same time, this is also perhaps when some Capricorns might experience a sense of pressure to make an important decision. So for a different manifestation of this energy could indicate perhaps that your progress might feel slow, and perhaps you might be experiencing some delays, especially when it comes to awaiting some news or awaiting an important letter, email, for example. So generally here, any delays that you experience around this time, this is also an opportunity for you to slow down, reflect, and think whether you are heading in the right direction, whether you're making the right decision, or perhaps whether something needs to be adjusted. But overall, here, if you'll be traveling as well, leave early, prepare ahead of your meeting appointment, because here Saturn and so the third and the ninth could influences could also indicate possible transportation delays. Now, on September the 18th, Mercury, the planet of communication, rational mind, thinking, enters Libra, and that's your 10th house. So here, your mental energy, your mind, shift into career-related matters, anything to do with your goals and objectives. It's a good time for studying as well. Here, around 3 weeks following September the 18th, something to watch out for is that as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it will form an opposition to Neptune in Aries. As I mentioned earlier, oppositions are often connected to external influences, other people's involvement in your life, or perhaps it could manifest. This energy could generally doesn't have to manifest physically. It could manifest in your through your thoughts, for instance. But here, this opposition generally can bring a certain degree of confusion and lack of clarity regarding work-related matters, especially. So, if you are in two minds, if you're unsure about something connected to your public life, career, direction, then don't rush anything on this day, because generally any rash decisions could negatively influence your path, and perhaps this is a day also to generally slow down and rethink your strategy. And the 19th brings a very different energy, a forward momentum, if you will, because this is when Mars moves away from these tense oppositions and squares, and it forms a supportive trine with Uranus and Pluto. So this also opens new doors to some new perspectives, new ideas, and realizations as well. So this is a great day. That's Friday, by the way, for aligning your goals and your objectives with the direction that feels more authentic to you. So, a great day for finding clarity to something that perhaps was unclear midweek. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo. And Virgo, that's your ninth house. So here with these energies, and of course with the approaching eclipse as well, this energy pushes you towards education, studying, learning, broadening your horizons as well. So a great time for engaging in studies. But I'll tell you more about this in a moment with when I reach the solar eclipse on Sunday. But here on the 20th, as soon as Venus enters a Virgo, it will form a square on the 20th with Uranus in Gemini. So this could bring some potential unexpected news and development, especially in travel and studying in your studies. Maybe you will suddenly realize, hold on, I want to embark on this brand new educational journey, or perhaps you might change your mind about the degree that you chose to study this year. Or this could be some kind of a sudden realization, sudden change of the idea, even whatever it is. Also stay flexible and because your plans might suddenly change on this day, and perhaps watch out for any signs, any signals, because there could be some new opportunities coming up. that could help you to redirect yourself, especially if you feel like you're not on the right track. And on the 21st, finally on Sunday, we've got a South Node solar eclipse happening in the ninth house here, where Venus is also present. So it's a South Node eclipse, so you're closing a certain chapter in your life, and you're opening, or you're allowing yourself to open a new one. So this eclipse will also gradually change your worldview. And this energy is about moving away from any rigid structures and rigid mindsets. And it's about moving into what is more meaningful, more practical, more in alignment. And at the same time, in the upcoming months, you might find yourself either traveling more, studying, engaging in activities that can help you to expand your horizons. And overall, here, this is about a brand new direction. So it's a time of growth, it's a time of clarity and alignment, even though at this point in your life you might still be wondering what this eclipse could be really about. It will take a few months to fully figure it out, but I'll leave you to it. Now let's move to Aquarius. Right, Aquarius, welcome. We've got a brand new week, brand new energies. And here this week starts with Venus forming a harmonious connection with both Mars and Chiron, and this is happening between the 15th and the 16th. So that's Monday and Tuesday. Here, Venus is still in Leo at this point in your seventh house. As you can see, relationships, partnerships, collaborations, contracts are highlighted at this point. But as we move forward, you will see that your area of transformation, intimate life, and investments, joint and shared resources will be especially highlighted. But here in the meantime, we've got some really beautiful energy, because whenever Mars and Venus connect harmoniously, this energy brings a lot of passion and passionate energy, but it could positively influence your intimate relationship and your love life without a doubt, especially since it activates your area of relationships. This could also indicate and that perhaps some positive developments in an important connection, friendship in your life. Venus also trines Chiron on this day, 15th, 16th. This also gives a potential for healing through trust, and for resolving any conflicts, any issues, for having these important conversations, for a healthy development of your relationship. Now, at the same time, also here on the 16th, Mars forms an opposition to Chiron. So, oppositions often involve other people, external influences. So, this energy could potentially stir up some tension and bring back some old wounds and healed emotions and healed energies connected to your relationships and to your, it could probably come from the past, some past unhealed relationship dynamics. So this is your chance to face these limiting thoughts, limiting energies, and release them. Don't let these thoughts, don't let the other people to define who you are and who you are becoming. All right, so as we move forward on the 17th, Mercury, the planet of communication, rational mind, rational thinking, connects with Saturn by an opposition. Saturn is at a very late 29 degree of Pisces, and Mercury is at also those analytic late degree of Virgo. So generally here, whenever Mercury is triggered by Saturn, by a square or an opposition, this can generally create some negative thoughts, negative thinking, or limiting thinking even. So overall here, this energy activates your area of finances, resources, income. So this is a time when you might be having some important conversations around money, but these conversations might feel heavy. Perhaps you are realizing that you need to budget better. Perhaps you need to watch out your spendings for a certain amount of time. And perhaps the time you need to kind of do some, perhaps you'll be doing some budgeting, financial planning, but here there's some heaviness surrounded around these energies. Perhaps this could indicate that you may have to delay some of your plans, some of your financial goals. However, at the same time, if you feel like there are some negative thoughts coming up to the surface, this is also a time to also slow down and maybe rethink your strategy and see where you could save more effectively, see where perhaps you're overspending. So overall, this is a good time for allowing yourself to review your spending, review your outgoings, especially with the upcoming eclipse in Virgo on the 21st. Now, on the 18th, on the other hand, Mercury enters Libra, and that's your 8th house. And here, generally, with Libra, it's all about balance, harmony, meeting halfway. Now, with the 8th house influence, you might find yourself having conversations in the upcoming weeks following the 18th about anything to do with mortgage, anything to do with also tax returns. This could be a good time for doing your tax return. I'll be definitely doing mine during this time. This is also a time to look at your investments, your savings as well. So anything to do with money, anything also, it's a good time for having these complex conversations about things that you don't usually like discussing. Here with Mercury in the 8th house, Mercury gives us more courage to dive slightly deeper into these complicated topics. But here, as soon as Mercury enters Libra, it forms an opposition to Neptune in Aries. So here, this is happening across your 9th and the 3rd house. This energy can bring a certain degree of confusion, lack of clarity, and this is a time overall to speak as clearly as you can. If something isn't clear, clarify it. Don't make any assumptions. Don't make any rash decisions which could negatively affect your life. So here, this energy influences your communication houses. So for this reason, it's really important to communicate effectively. And there's a tendency to idealize certain matters. There is a tendency towards having misunderstandings as well. So in order to avoid these, clear and transparent communication is essential, and then here try to avoid jumping too quickly into confusions. Now here on the 19th, we've got a major shift of energy because this is when Mercury forms a beautiful trine with both Uranus and Pluto in your 1st house. So here, this brings, generally, this is when we regain the clarity that we may have lacked midweek. It's an amazing time for having any transformative conversations, for recognizing anything that holds us back. Or anyone that holds us back. This energy brings a lot of clarity. This energy brings really fresh, interesting ideas. This could be a time when you receive some unexpected news as well. So keep your eyes open. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo, and this is an amazing time for your intimate relationship. Venus here can be very deep, very passionate, and Venus needs close connection. So at the same time, if any instability will become more, or instability or lack of closeness will become more noticeable around this time. But at the same time, here with Venus, for those who are single, this is when you seek soul-like connection. So when you meet someone during this time, it could be a really deep magnetic connection. But at the same time, with Venus here, this is when lack financial gains come through the support of others. As soon as Venus enters this area of your chart and Virgo, it forms a square, which is a tense energy that often requires us to implement more effort, get out of our comfort zone. This could indicate some sudden shifts in your investments, perhaps in the area of money as well. Whatever the scenario, flexibility, adaptability is key. because this could be also a time of when you might, this could be connected to some unexpected financial gains, but at the same time, perhaps it will require a lot of paperwork, or perhaps you might have to send some additional information, for example. So there is a little bit of that clashing energy that could indicate that we will have to put some effort to gain whatever that you desire around this time. Now, we end the week with a solar eclipse in Virgo happening on September 21st. And here, this is in your eighth house. So, as you can see, this area of transformation, shared and joined resources, intimacy, investments is very much highlighted during this time. This eclipse indicates the end of some old financial or emotional entanglements, but at the same time, a new cycle, new beginning. This is about self empowerment in many, many ways through others. But this isn't always easy energy, especially since the moon doesn't feel comfortable in the eighth house, but it can be very, very, very cleansing, very, very therapeutic, liberating as well. So here, this is a chance for you to reclaim your power and move forward in your life, in your financial area of your chart, but also in your close relationships as well. So I made a separate video about this eclipse, so I will link it in the description box down below this video. Thank you very much, and let's have a look at Pisces. Pisces, welcome. This week here highlights especially your relationships, any contracts, unions. So we start with Venus forming a harmonious connection with both Mars and Chiron. So here, Venus is in Leo as we start a month in your sixth house of work, everyday life, everyday routine. And then as we move forward, Venus will move to Virgo, and that will be on Friday. But here, while we are on Monday and Tuesday, we've got this supportive energy, which could generally bring some opportunities, perhaps at your work. This energy could also benefit some projects you're working on. This is a good time for some lifestyle changes, for implementing healthier habits to your daily life, daily routine, for finding more balance, for example. But at the same time, we also have a clash on the 16th, Mars and Chiron opposition. So at this point, Mars is in the sign of Libra in your eighth house, opposing Chiron in your second house. So this could potentially this energy could bring some tension, some unhealed emotions, feelings around dependence or independence, or perhaps equality in partnerships, business, intimate. This will depend on your circumstances. This is a chance for you to face these fears, face these limitations, and this way, this is when growth occurs. By avoiding them, you're letting them define you. The 17th, on the other hand, Mercury, the planet of communication, the planet of your rational thinking, your mindset, is going to form a tense opposition with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And this is happening across your area of relationships, unions, contracts, one-to-one connections, and Saturn retrograde in your first house. So generally during this day, conversations might feel heavy, especially conversations with others on one-to-one basis, with your partner, with your client, with your love partner. So if you can, it's not really a good day for having any complicated conversations or meetings. If you can, try to reschedule them at least for Friday the 19th, as on Friday the 19th we've got a very different energies. But here 17th and 18th bring restrictions, limitations, frustration. So here, especially here with Saturn being activated, this is generally also when you might realize that perhaps you have taken on too much, that you have overextended yourself. So this energy is generally about slowing down and realizing perhaps whether you set clear and healthy boundaries in your relationships with others, whether whether the responsibilities, for example, in your household, in your relationship, in your business partnership even, are shared equally, or perhaps are you taking on too much? Now, on the 18th, on the other hand, Mercury enters Libra, and this will slightly soften the energies of the tension from the 17th, even though the eighth house is very much connected to anything to do with depth and healing, having complex conversations, but about topics that we don't usually feel comfortable discussing. But at the same time, Mercury in Libra is very much connected to meeting halfway, being compromised, meeting halfway. Now, as soon as Mercury enters Libra, on the other hand, it will form an opposition with Neptune in Aries. So this can bring a potential confusion, lack of clear sense of direction, lack of clarity, for example. So generally be mindful of misunderstanding another person's intentions. Watch out for having too high expectations of yourself or others. If something isn't clear, then clarify it. It's all about clarity and transparency on this day in order to avoid any unnecessary confusions. If you can delay signing any important documents or making any important decisions, then if you can delay it at least a day, then the 19th would be a better day for doing so. And don't jump too quickly into conclusions. Think things through. Now, on the September the 19th, we've got very different energies because this is when Mercury connects with Uranus and Pluto by a trine. So here, this energy will help you to break through any confusion, any limiting patterns, thoughts that you may have experienced midweek. And this is about reaching a much greater, much deeper understanding in your relationships, in your partnerships, in your connections with others. So this is a powerful day for having these transformative conversations, for perhaps renegotiating any dynamics, for instance, as well. Now, also on the same day, Venus enters Virgo, and that's here your seventh house. Energy Venus very often brings a lot of loving and beautiful harmonious energy into our area of relationships whenever it transits the seventh house. And you might see that your interactions with others will likely increase. When this energy wants you to be real. It's all about authenticity and reality, and being realistic, your expectations of others and your expectations of yourself as well within your relationships. But as soon as Venus enters Virgo, it forms a tense square with Uranus, and that's on the September the 20th. So this could indicate some sudden shifts that could be happening around this time in your connections. So very often when Uranus is activated by a square or an opposition, especially here a square, this could indicate that something or someone will take you by surprise, perhaps some unexpected invitation, unexpected news, events that may test your flexibility. At the same time, perhaps a sudden cancellation or a sudden change of plans could bring the necessary freedom that you need. And we end the week with solar eclipse, a south node solar eclipse happening on September the 21st, activating your seventh house. So this is without a doubt a turning point in your relationships. And this is when some partnerships, depending on your circumstances, may deepen with new levels of commitment, while others may come to an end, especially those that no longer support your growth, no longer align with your inner self. Now, this eclipse is also here to help you to clarify what you need from others. So the south node energy, which is very karmic, this is in a way a reset that you have been waiting for, because this energy will help you create much more grounded, much more authentic and supportive relationships moving forward. So thank you very much, Pisces, and all the best.